Diving in on a Thursday to Easy Eats. I'm Ginger Zee here in my kitchen, and we're about to have Leah Cohen, a chef. You may know her from Top Chef. You might know her from her restaurants, which we will get into. But I'm going to put in here because we're making beef Prow, or I'm making chicken. So we're just mixing it up. I'm putting it's always hard to pin a comment while you're talking. I'm gonna get this skill down, don't you worry. But what's gonna happen is, hi Zachary, I see you, I see you. But what's gonna happen here is we're going to have Lisa join us. And as soon as she gets in, let's see. Leah, I said Lisa. Leah, looking for her in the requests. There she is. Cohen joining us, and we are making some Thai food. There's a lot to talk about, actually, and I have a lot of questions, so it's a good thing we are starting it up. How are you doing?
Hey, are we good?
You're sideways.
Oh, they told me to put it that way. Okay, we'll switch it.
I mean, I don't know if I do that too. What happened? Hold on, let me try.
Well, my husband's the cameraman now, and now he's trying to switch it vertically.
Yeah, I've never done it the other way, but let's stick with vertical just to make sure we get it all in.
That's cool. Yeah, I wasn't sure. Actually, we sent a text to be like, should it be vertical or horizontal? And then I don't think we heard back, so we just went vertical. Horizontal. Yeah, but is it good now?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Good. We're really looking forward to this. So, Chef Leah, tell me, I know that you have 2 restaurants in Manhattan, but people throughout the Northeast can get your food because you're working with a group that gets it out, which was fascinating to me. So tell me about that, and tell me about how things have been going since we've kind of had some reopening.
So Cook Unity is a company that I just partnered with. Actually, my food is available starting Monday, I believe. And basically, they're chef-prepared meals that are packaged, that are delivered to your house. And all you have to do is either pop it in the microwave or put it in the oven. And, you're getting like restaurant quality food delivered to your home, which is great during quarantine because I feel like a lot of people are kind of running out of, their dishes that they're like their repertoire, I guess. Yeah. So it's a good way to, without going out to restaurants, to get restaurant quality food. And so I'm really excited to partner with them. And they already have been working with some of my friends. And my friends have said nothing but good things about them, my chef friends. So it's very exciting. We reopened Pig and Khao last Wednesday. So it's been rough, I'm not going to lie. We were closed for 4 months, so trying to get the word back out that, we reopened, trying to get staff back, trying to do everything safely, keeping the staff safe, keeping the customers safe. So what we decided to do at Pig and Khao was to do a takeout window, and we do have some outdoor seating, but it's not table service, so there's no server interaction. So like the minimal amount of interaction with people, I think, is the best way for right now, in my opinion, because you can never be too safe, I guess.
Yeah, and that's the thing is people were ready. I mean, we are ready to eat out, so people are looking forward to it. And I know that we were doing as much as we could for takeout because we both, my husband and I, worked in the restaurant industry for much, all the way through TV until I got this job, actually, because I always had to have a second job or third or fourth. And so I have such extra connection to restaurants and to chefs. And so thank you for what you're doing because you are providing that outlet for people in the safest way possible. And hopefully, we can find a way to keep supporting y'all because I know it is a big, big deal what's going on in a lot of industries.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, it's really, we just don't know, right? We have no idea when we're going to be able to open for indoor dining. We don't know, if it's safe yet. And I totally agree with Cuomo about not allowing us to do that right now because for me, the most important thing is safety for my staff and for our customers. So you can never be too safe right now. So
we've got Chef Leah Cohen here with us. So you guys, just so you know, there's a question mark in the bottom left. If you have a question about this type of cuisine, about what we're making as we go through this, you're going to be able to ask, and then I can put it up on the screen, which is great. So, Leah, I know that Piggyback had just opened in January, but that one kind of spread because it kind of took your experiences from chefs all over the world, but especially like traveling in Asia, right? And it took a lot of different flavors.
So both restaurants are actually Southeast Asian, but Piggyback is it's not specific to Southeast Asia. It's like more broader, just like Asia in general. So there's some Japanese influence, some Korean influence, and usually once a year, except this year we're not going away. My husband and I do a 3-week R&D trip, and so we usually to Southeast Asia, but then we always stop in somewhere like Japan or Korea or China, because if you're already over there, you might as well try to see as many countries as you can. And so that over the years we've been visiting those countries, so Piggyback allowed me to be a little bit more creative and just kind of expand the cuisines that from what I was already doing at Pig and Khao. But Piggyback, it's rough because it's in Midtown, and it was the things that attracted us to open there originally are things that are like no longer existent at the moment. We're right around the corner from Madison Square Garden. There are a ton of businesses and office buildings just like right on the block. And, those things are kind of not happening right now. So we are going to reopen, but we're just taking our time. We have really great partners who actually own the building and a lot of buildings in the neighborhood. So they know, they see there's 15% of, the people that are coming into their buildings than what used to be there. So they're very patient and, it's rough. Like you just don't really know what to do right now. It's like, is it worth opening? Is it not? And one of the reasons why we wanted to reopen Pig and Khao is because we've been open for almost 8 years. So we have a built-in clientele and we have a name.
People want it. Yeah, they need it.
People want it, exactly. And it is in the Lower East Side. So it's very much more neighborhood, and we just have a lot of regulars, then a lot of people that were excited for us to reopen. And so for Piggyback, it started off in January and it was bananas crazy. We were so busy. Like I didn't feel like I could catch a breath. And then COVID happened and it went from crazy busy to obviously nothing. And then we closed in March. So it's been a whirlwind because, to do a restaurant opening, to be that busy and then just to stop, like a hard stop. And then I went from, being a stay-at-home mom because I have now, he's 10 months old next week. But it's the best. But I went from not working for 3 months to then jumping right back into opening a restaurant. And then, so it's been a lot of,
I bet.
Yeah.
So, okay, so as we'll get to cooking here so everybody can follow along if they'd like to and ask some questions, but I do want to ask about your September cookbook that's coming out too, which we'll get to. Lemongrass and Lime, which I love that because I got to say, I watched Top Chef from the beginning and I never had a kitchen that I wanted to cook in until we moved to this house. I've really never had a space to cook in, and Lemongrass was that. It felt very distant. It felt very whenever everybody used it on Top Chef, I'd be like, no, I want to do that someday. So for you to have a book called Lemongrass and Lime, I was like, yeah. So let me just start out by asking a really novice question because I did not know which was which. Okay. Red chilies and green chilies were in the recipe, but I have this a giant ones or I have the small ones. This feels like these are peppers and these are chilies, right? So
I can't see your screen because, but the small ones are the ones that I'm using today. These are the Thai bird chilies, and then I'm assuming you have one that's probably this big, and a little fatter, and those are just more mild. They're not as spicy. These little guys pack some real serious heat.
So maybe I will though, because my kids are 2 and 4, and one of them likes heat, but the other one not as much. Maybe I should do one of each, like a big one and a little one.
Yeah, I think one little one will go a long way.
Okay, I'll do that.
And then the green ones, these are actually less spicy than the red ones, although they are still spicy, but the red ones are spicier.
All right, cool. So let's get started because I have a lot of other questions too. I gotta say, I've never worked with these, the long green green beans before?
Yeah. Yes, these guys. They are exactly what the name is. They're long beans, so they're long green beans. They're kind of a little more hollow than string beans, and they have a firmer, I feel like the long beans are a little crisper. Sorry, the string beans are a little crisper in texture, and these are kind of a little softer.
Definitely.
Yeah, but these are great, and sometimes they get even like double the size of this. Like these are not even that long.
Wow. Okay, so let's do it. Start me out with where you want me to begin.
Okay, so we're going to start just by like prepping everything. So just rule of thumb, like with Southeast Asian cooking, it's very prep intensive, and then the cooking part is really fast.
Okay.
Normally. So I'm going to start. I like my food very spicy. I'm just going to put a glove on. I don't know if you have one at home, but because we have kids at home, I don't want to touch the chili and then like accidentally touch my baby's face, and then I sting him with, so I just like pop off the ends of these.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to very coarsely chop the chilies.
Okay.
And traditionally, this dish is done. The chilies are done in a mortar and pestle, and so you're just kind of bruising them and breaking them up. I'm gonna do like a bunch of chilies though, because I like it really. I like it that way,
but I just want to make it so the kids will eat it.
Oh, totally.
I should come to your house and eat yours version.
So we're just gonna do like a rough chop here.
Okay.
And
the red and green.
Yeah, the red and the green, and that's really more for like presentation, to have like, pretty colors going on. If you can only get green, or if you can only get red, you can use one of the two. You don't have to use both. Yeah. And then we have garlic. I like a lot of garlic in my food, so I'm just gonna cut like the little end pieces off.
Okay.
And then take the back of my knife and just smash them, and then like roughly chop them. So everything is pretty coarse. And so I'm just gonna take the back of this knife and go like that.
Okay. So I already kind of chopped mine. So there were five cloves of garlic, right? Yeah,
it's a lot of garlic. I mean, I really I probably have like garlic breath all the time, but I really just kind of love garlic.
I like it too. I'm not afraid of it, that's for sure.
No. I feel like if anyone asks me like what's an ingredient that you can't live without, it would definitely be garlic. I just absolutely love it.
So as you cut that, I'm going to keep, and somebody asked what kind of chili we're chopping. These are specific chili, are they, I don't even remember, are they just Thai chilies?
Yeah, Thai bird chilies. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay.
And so for the long beans, these are really just to add some texture to the dish.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna, and everything is kind of like rough chopped. It's not, we're not super precise here.
And you like did it in half like that? Is that how you got to going?
Yeah, I cut it in half just to make it easier on the cutting board, since you don't have to go like the length of it. And then I just put them together, and I'm just like, I guess not chopping it, like slicing it kind of.
Mini. They're little.
Yeah, they're little. Yeah, and these are just gonna go in at the very end, so they, stand up they give texture to the dish.
Okay.
But if you don't have long beans, or you can't find long beans, you can use string beans. I realize that there are a lot of ingredients that you can't readily get, especially during a pandemic. So I try to make it as easy to like swap stuff out as possible. And I know that you're cooking with ground chicken, right?
I am.
And that's totally fine. This dish is done normally with 3 different types of protein. You could do it with ground beef, you can do it with ground chicken, and you can do it with ground pork.
Yep.
So that is
How much bean are we going for? What's the...
I'm going to say, like,
you love beans, so I feel like I should go overboard with those.
Yeah, I mean, if you like it, if you love beans, then, like, literally there are no rules. Like, you can, this recipe is, like, a guideline, but, like, I always like to say if you like more chilies or you like more garlic, like, you can, change the recipe to your taste. So I'm going to do the other long bean. And you just want to cut off, like, the end piece. where I guess
Yep.
it would like grow out of.
Right.
And yeah, and then I know that you know, the chilies are probably like, I guess if you can't get a green Thai chili, you could use like a jalapeno, or you could use a serrano. I mean, really right now, especially while like there are limited, you know, limited supply of ingredients, just
Yeah.
kind of eyeball, like do with whatever you can, you know, whatever's at the supermarket. And actually, traditionally, this dish is done with holy basil, and I can't even get that from my Asian vendor normally.
Oh, I got some though.
Did you get Thai basil or holy basil?
Oh, hold on. Maybe you're right.
Holy basil
You're right.
is
Thai. Yep.
yeah. So holy basil has a different flavor profile. This is more of like, Thai basil is like an anisette kind of flavor, which is delicious, and I like it with the Thai basil. That's how we do it at Pig and Cow. But holy basil is something that, unless you know someone, like I can't really get it. Not in New York.
You got the good stuff, huh?
Yeah, you can get it in you know, in the West Coast probably more. It's way more available.
Isn't that always the case?
Yeah, because our produce is not that great on the East Coast. I mean, it's not. Yeah. I always said to my husband, if we could open Pig and Cow in California or LA, yeah, it would be like so much better just because of the ingredients. Like the recipes would be the exact same thing, but the ingredients would just be like a million times better. So
I know that you grew up eating this Southeast Asian food, and that's why this is your kind of, you know, wheelhouse. Someone's asking though, what is your favorite thing that you enjoy cooking versus eating?
Oh, I mean, so because I cook Southeast Asian food at my restaurants, when I'm at home, I actually cook a lot of Italian food.
Nice.
I spent a year and a few months working in Italy. Before I cooked Southeast Asian food, I did a slow foods program in Italy, and that gave me a working visa to work at a restaurant in Sicily. So I was, whenever I can at home, and my husband really loves it too, although he does love my Southeast Asian food, he really enjoys it when I cook Italian food. So pastas, like homemade pastas, are really fun for me because it's like labor intensive and it's kind of therapeutic, I guess.
Yeah. It's the Play-Doh for a chef, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Were you able to get kaffir lime leaves?
Yes.
Okay,
I have
cool.
those here, and I've never worked with them before, so I'm looking forward to learning something new.
So these guys are delicious. They have like a stem going through them. So I try to just cut out the tough fibrous stem, and then you're just left with the leaf part. And then I usually just like stack them up, and it depends, like if you want it really long, you can like roll it and then chop it, or that can be a little bit cumbersome, like to hold it under your thumb. So you can just do it like this way and slice like going down.
And just in case other people haven't used this, it's spelled like kefir, like the drink almost, or the yogurt thing. Right?
I think kefir, the yogurt, has an E, and kefir has an A in it.
Oh, okay. Well, this one, but I will say, like, now that I'm cutting it, and even before I could smell it, it smells very strong in the, like, citrus cleaning way.
Yes. It has a very, very strong flavor, and a little bit goes a long way. And the kaffir limes are usually much smaller than regular limes, and they are kind of like rough around they're just like they have like a rough skin.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And so, but you know, like I said, like talking about, you know, West Coast ingredients, getting real kaffir limes, you know, you can go to Kalustyan's, which is a great store, but they're still not as like juicy as what you would get. And they are obviously more expensive because they're just not as readily available.
Right. And if you make that kind of a rough chop, or that's fine?
So it's going to be like super, super julienne thin. It's kind of, the way they describe it is like kaffir hairs.
Okay.
In Thai cooking, you have to like, and it's always like the thinner the better. And you know, people are like, well, how thin can you get your kefir? You know, it just really depends on how sharp your knife is. But I mean, you can also chop it up if you don't feel comfortable and your knife skills aren't that great. You can also just like rough chop it. And then this is going to go in at the very end also because we want that very floral citrus flavor to just kind of pop out at the very end. And if you can't get kefir, you can use lime zest. It's definitely not the same, but again, like we're working with what we can do. So, but if you can get it, great. And it stores pretty well, and you can actually freeze it. If you can get a big batch and freeze it and then take it out. And so sometimes, you know, in Thai cooking, they use it whole, like in curries, and then you can just pick it out at like a restaurant if you don't want someone to eat it, or if you're just cooking at home, you can leave it in. But when you're working with kefir, you want to kind of like bruise it if you're going to leave it whole, just to like release the oils from the leaves.
Okay.
Yeah. And and then we're gonna get to the sauce. So we cut all of our veg, and so that was pretty quick. And then we have the sauce, which is super simple. You can use the base is usually beef stock, or if you're doing chicken, so you would use chicken stock. But if you can't get stock, if you don't have stock or whatever, you can just do water. It's not that big of a deal because you are cooking with protein, so that it will release its own juices and kind of flavor the sauce as well. But just to make it a little, more flavor intense, we're doing beef stock. And then we have some soy sauce over here.
And how much is that? 2 tablespoons, right?
Yeah. And I'm just going to eyeball it.
Yeah, I'm not there yet. I'm like, especially because the soy comes out slow, I have a hard time eyeballing soy.
Yeah. And then, and then we have oyster sauce. So this adds just like another layer of umami, and oyster sauce is also sweet. So it adds, some sweet, some savory, saltiness. And then we have white pepper. Again, white pepper, if you can't get it, you can use black pepper. That's fine too. But, traditionally it's made with white pepper.
Okay. Yeah, because I didn't have that, so I had to get that. But I did find it, so it's a half a teaspoon of white pepper.
Yes. And then you just whisk that up. And that's basically the sauce. I probably made a little too much sauce for the amount.
Is there supposed to be oil in there or no?
No, there's no oil in there. The oil is going to be, we're going to use the oil to stir fry, and then we're frying an egg also. So this is a very protein heavy
I think a lot of people love that, that's because I'm a veg, like if I just had veg, my husband would eat pasta. He'd love your house because he'd get homemade pasta all the time. He'd eat pasta all day, so I'm happy to do one of these where it's,
I normally eat this with like steamed jasmine rice.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I should make that. But.
Yeah. But if you want to go like carb free, it's up to you. The dish by itself is like delicious, but traditionally Thai or Southeast Asian dishes are meant to be eaten with rice. So sometimes, like if you don't eat it with rice, the actual dish itself is a little salty because you're meant to, eat it with rice, which is kind of bland, and it takes on, it kind of lowers that salt level.
I'm going to make some of it right now while we go, but go ahead.
Okay, cool. Do you have a rice cooker or do you do it on a pot?
I just do it on the stovetop.
Okay. I have a rice cooker. It's honestly like I eat a lot of rice, and my nanny obviously makes rice like if she's Filipino, and she makes rice like 3 times a day. So a rice cooker is great, but like if you use it a lot, but it's like foolproof.
That's kind of nice. The rice it seems to be going well. I don't know. Seems worked for me. Okay, so where were we in the?
Okay, so we have everything prepped. We have the sauce ready, the chilies, the long beans, the garlic, the kefir, and then we have some limes that I just cut. So we're going to squeeze that in at the very end. And then we have our Thai basil, not holy basil. We have our Thai basil. And so that is like, I would say if anything is a star of the dish, the herbs is like really what kind of just like takes it to the next level.
Yeah. Always, right?
Always, always. I mean, Southeast Asian cooking, but especially like Thai and Vietnamese, they're all about their herbs to just kind of like make that, you know, like brightness and that pop, which is something that I really love because it makes you feel like less guilty about what you're eating. You're like, no, there's a lot of herbs that taste like light and delicious. So yeah.
Well, that's what I always have to convince my husband, because when he cooks, he's like, oh, we can skip that. We don't need to cook that. I'm like, that's the most important. You have to get the rosemary or whatever it is.
It's funny because some people, you know, who don't cook a lot, they're like, oh, do we really need that thyme, or do we really need that rosemary or basil or whatever? And it really does make a difference. Like I'm going to say,
started growing it. I have lemon thyme out in the little garden I have.
That's amazing.
So good. It's changed everything.
Yeah. I mean, if you can like grow your own herbs like out at your home, that's even better because it's like way fresher and like you literally just have to go like cut it. But for me, I have no green thumb, so I've never attempted to even try to grow my own like herbs or tomatoes or anything like that. Yeah. Are you done prepping?
Done. I'm ready to go.
All right. So my husband is going to come on over to the stovetop, and then we're going to
job to him, by the way.
Well, I mean, it's really just on a stand right now. This is the hard part. This is where
this is where it gets labor intensive.
Yeah, he needs to stay steady and so I'm cooking this in a wok.
Yeah, I have one too.
You can do it in a saute pan if you don't have a wok. It's not that big of a deal. You know, some people are like, oh my God, I can't make it because I don't have a wok. And it's like, no, it's fine. We can make adjustments.
How much oil are you doing there?
I put like 2 tablespoons.
Okay.
And we're going to get this hot, but not like super, super hot because we want to saute first the chilies and the garlic. So if it was really, really hot, the garlic would probably burn. And then when you add the chilies, it would like, you'll start sneezing because it'll just like take over your entire house and it would just like, yeah, so it's funny because like at Pig and Cow, we have, we have an open kitchen. So when we make this dish, sometimes like they make it too hot and then like people start like, coughing, like customers, because it like goes into the dining room. But I mean, it's fine. And if you wanted to turn obviously like, a fan on, that would be good too. So we're going to just start by adding the garlic to the oil.
Oh, oops, I put them together, so don't.
It's okay. No, it's totally fine. I think I probably could have waited a little bit longer. You want to hear like a little sizzle, but it's fine. It's
I got a sizzle on there.
Okay, cool. So you're already doing better than me. And then we're just gonna, cook this over like medium heat, and we want the garlic to get like nice and brown, because when we add the beef to the pot or to the wok, it's going to release its own juices, and the garlic is basically not going to like fry anymore. So we want to get it to a nice golden brown. And I'm just going to, it's fine that you combine the two, but I'm going to just get this garlic going a little bit before, a little bit brown, and then I'll add the chilies in, and then I'm going to just like grab the rest of my ingredients over here.
Ripped up over there, but yeah. Sorry, our dog he's a puppy, but he ripped up something.
Oh, what kind of dog?
He's a rescue, so he's definitely black lab, but then he's something else, and whatever, it's his bed. He ripped up his own bed. Okay,
oh
great.
No!
I was like, I better get over there, and I kept hearing him while we were talking, and then by the time I got over there, it looked like a bed massacre. It was
All right, so I just added the chilies because the garlic is getting brown.
And mine are getting kind of brown, so I turned it down. Meat?
Yes. I would say if it's like getting like kind of a little too dark, so I'm good right here. Probably we're at the same color. I'm going to add the beef, you're going to add your chicken, and you just want to kind of break up the beef.
Yeah.
As much as you can. I don't know if you're getting like the chilies in your nose, but I added a lot, so I'm definitely getting some chili.
A little bit, but it's not bad. So that's
Okay.
probably good. That means I
Good,
get
yeah.
for our taste.
Yes.
Although
So,
I'm telling you, I would love it. I'd add like double because I would.
honestly, like I love chili so much. I just go overboard sometimes with it. I mean, never to the point where it just like takes away the flavor of the dish, but to the point where it's like, because sometimes if you add too much chilies, it's like you're just like killing your taste buds.
So now I got it. Now I got a whiff. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
Leah, can I ask, when you were pregnant, because I know you have a 10-month-old, you said.
Yeah.
Did you have one food that you went wild for?
So I had like a super sweet tooth.
Okay.
And then I realized like, oh, you could like, that's not really like good for the baby.
Yeah.
And they were like, we're going to do a sugar test for you in like a couple of weeks. I was like, okay, maybe I should really like take down the amount of sugar that I am eating. But like, I was like obsessed with pancakes, for some reason. And I don't really like pancakes normally. Yeah. And then I also, just like anything sweet, like baked goods were like my jam.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I wonder, as your baby gets older, I've seen it with both my kids. I don't know, people have said that was true, but I never really drank a lot of milk or had a lot of dairy. I was actually pretty intolerant, but during my pregnancy, I wasn't. I like magically could eat dairy, and then I loved it. I was like eating sour cream by the spoonful, and now both my boys are obsessed. Like they really...
I guess you you fed it to them while they were in there, and like they just love the dairy now. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk because mine's still browning. Can you tell me about the cookbook, where it came from, the whole story? I love the idea because it's kind of like a chronologic, bio, but cooking bio, right?
Yeah. So sorry, just to interrupt, my meat is already like kind of brown, so I added a little dark soy sauce.
Okay.
I added just like I think it's like a teaspoon.
Okay.
And that is just really to give it more color, and then some obviously more like umami and a little saltiness. But dark soy is not as salty as regular soy sauce. So I'm going to turn this down and start talking about the cookbook, Lemongrass and Lime. I'm really excited for it. It has been pushed back a lot just because of COVID. And just because of a lot of other things, but it's been like 3 years in the making, and it just really is kind of my story of all of the recipes that I learned while traveling abroad to Southeast Asia. I spent a year working in different kitchens in different countries, and then like I mentioned earlier, my husband and I go and do R&D. I don't know why I'm still wearing this glove. My husband and I do like R&D every year, so it's really just like my favorite recipes that I've learned throughout the years, and some recipes that I learned while I was a kid because my mom is from the Philippines and I visited the Philippines a lot when I was a child. So some of those dishes that I grew up eating and then that my mom taught me or my mom's friends taught me, those are incorporated into the cookbook as well. And one of the things that I love about the cookbook is my photographer was my neighbor from elementary school to high school. So we go way back, and we actually went to Southeast Asia to get photos of, markets and just like get really authentic shots. And I thought that was really important because I want the book to kind of transport you to those countries. So if you've never been there, you can still really get a sense of, like what it's like to go to visit a market and, in Singapore or hawker stall in Singapore, or go to the floating market in Thailand and all that stuff. So, it's available for pre-order on Amazon. Great. And it comes out September 29th. This is the cookbook. I have a copy here. We're about to send them out to, how books are. You have to send them out to people. So we're about to do that. And I'm very, very excited. It is a different approach on how we're going to you know, usually when a book comes out, you do like a book party and then you do like some special dinners and like all that fun stuff. And like, I just don't know how we're going to handle that. But we still, you know, everything changes every day. So who knows? Maybe we'll be in great shape on September 29th when the book comes out and we can do a little something. But I'm not really sure. You never know. All right. So did you add the dark soy?
I did.
Okay, cool. So you're just going to cook that for like 30 seconds, and then I'm going to add the sauce that we made.
Okay.
And we're just going to let that cook. I turned it back up. I turned it down while we were talking about the cookbook.
Okay.
And you want it saucy, but not like super, super wet.
Right.
And then I'm going to let that cook for probably like 30 more seconds. And then we're going to throw in the long beans and the kaffir and let that cook for 30 seconds.
Okay.
And then we are going to turn it off. And then once we turn it off, we'll fold in the Thai basil. Actually, you know what I think we should do before
taste it.
So taste it, see if you think it needs any more salt or, you know, you can add more of the sauce. Cool. And I'm going to turn this off right now. I'm not going to add the basil yet because I want to fry the egg, because we want the basil to be like the last thing that we do because we want it like just wilted. And then I'll add the lime at the end too.
But you put the beans in already?
I put the beans in, let that cook for 30 seconds. And the kaffir.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. And then turn it off. Got it.
Yeah. And then everyone, so what I love about it smells good. It's like, it's pretty. There's like the green, the red. So I'm going to, I have a nonstick pan for the egg. I usually do like 1 egg per person. Yeah. And so traditionally with this, it's, you would use a lot more oil than this. They kind of like shallow fry their eggs to get them like real runny. It's like not the way, like the French way that we were taught to cook eggs. But I actually prefer to have all my eggs cooked this way because I really do that like it when the white is nice and crispy. So I'm not gonna add as much oil as traditionally is done because it will also splatter everywhere. So you just want to be careful of that. And then I like to keep the egg at room temperature just because I feel like it cooks nicer that way. And we're going to get it to basically like it's almost smoking. Okay. And I like to pre-crack my egg. Like I don't want to do it directly in the pan because I like to crack it in like, you know, a vessel because otherwise when you add, it's going to start splattering. So like, just like, right when you add it, just like kind of step away. So we're just waiting on that to heat up and get,
I think I've got mine pretty hot, so I'm gonna go for it.
Okay, go for it, but just like be careful because it's gonna start splattering.
Oh no, it's not. Never mind, it's not.
Okay.
Because I just threw a thing in there and it's not. Okay.
We're gonna get
and I put up Leah's, if you guys are interested in the book, Lemongrass and Lime, I put up, her name is right there on her Instagram. It's easy to get to her page. That way you can go check it out. I'm sure you've got a link to it, I'm guessing.
Yes, I have one in my bio on Instagram, and it's available for pre-order on Amazon.
Yes.
Yes, and I'm very, very excited about it. It was, so we didn't, I'm going to add the egg. Let's see.
Okay.
So since we spent a lot of our money, you know, our proposal money to, our advance to go to Southeast Asia and get those photos, my husband and I, mainly my husband, he did all of the food styling, which which is crazy because it's just like, I was like, yeah, we could do it. Like, we cook all the time. Like, we know how to, and we plate stuff, but like, it's completely different. Like, figuring out how to food style for a book. All right, so if you can see, like, the edges are getting, like, really nice and brown.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to turn it down and then try to just, like, take some of this white, move some of the white out.
Okay.
So that from the yolk, so it just, like, gets nice and crispy as well. This actually, it's starting to splatter. I spoke too soon. I was like, oh, it's not splattering as much as I thought it would. I'm just going to get it really nice and crispy and brown, but we still want that runny yolk.
Right.
And it will carry over a little bit, but not that much. So this is like 10 seconds away from being done. Okay. And then you just want to drain it on a like a paper towel, like a plate with a paper towel. So
right.
I think this looks good. Again, just be very, very careful with the hot oil. I'm a professional, but like I still burn myself.
I know. So it's hard not to, in any sense of when oil is popping, you know?
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, it has like a life of its own. So how's your egg doing? You good?
I think we're good. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so I'm just gonna turn back the beef on just to get it warm.
Okay.
And then I'm actually going to add a little bit more of the stock or of the sauce just because it kind of dried out a little bit. So we just want to get it hot, and then we're going to turn it off again because we want the residual heat to kind of like wilt the basil.
Right.
But you never really want to cook the herbs. You know what I mean? Unless it's something like thyme or rosemary, like a tougher kind of herb that can like withstand the heat, but like things like mint and basil and cilantro. Wait, it's like,
is the basil meant to be chopped? I didn't ask that.
No, I leave it whole.
Oh, you do? Okay, good.
Yeah. Okay, so this is good. This is hot, and now I turned it off. And I'm just going to add all of my basil. I love to add a lot of basil. I think it just makes it so much more delicious. And then it's literally just the meat is gonna like wilt it. And then at this point, we can also squeeze in some lime to add just like another layer of freshness.
Yes. See, this makes me feel like right here, like I just did it. Like this is gonna be a hit.
And obviously, if you like your food a little bit more acidic, you can add a little bit more lime. And I think also if you're doing like something that's a little bit leaner, like you're doing the chicken, you probably don't need as much lime to cut through the fat because there's not as much fat. But it's really just tastes just like depending on your, on your.
No, it's good. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you can see that the basil has like wilted, but it's still like nice and vibrant green. And then I am just going to start plating the dish.
Great. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see if my rice is kind of close, so I think that worked out. It's supposed to be 4 more minutes. Let me give it a taste before I try to include rice in this. As I say, oh, rice is fine. It's easy. Yeah, good.
Good? Nice. That cooked really fast, actually.
Yeah. This jasmine rice is like a 15-minute.
Awesome.
So let me get a little bit of that going because I think that'll make for a nice dish.
Yes.
I have a cook club that I share, recipes, and all those people that I've got share recipes on my cook club over on Facebook. So I love to get like a really well plated dish from here and then send them to our talk so that more people could enjoy.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah. Okay, great. And then you're just putting it on the bowl and then
putting it in the bowl, and then I'm going to just add the egg on top. And so basically, like when you eat it, you just want the egg to, the yolk to kind of like ooze into, like break it open and ooze it into the meat. So that adds another layer of just richness, and it kind of sauces it also. And yeah, and then this is the final dish.
Oh,
so this is in the cookbook. This is at Pig and Cow takeout window, and we're also doing it with Cook Unity. So clearly I love this dish a lot because I am incorporating it into like everything.
Well, since we have you just for, I want to make sure there weren't any other questions that people had. And last minute, guys, if you want to add a question, there's a question mark on the bottom left. Leah is right here with us, so you get her. Let's see, there's definitely, do you have a favorite dish you cooked on Top Chef? Matthew wanted to know.
It's really funny because I kind of like blocked Top Chef like out of my head. Like it was 10 years ago and I was such a baby when I competed. I was like 20, I was 26.
Wasn't that crazy?
It's crazy. And so first of all, I have a terrible memory as it is, but I remember, I know what it was. So Grant Achatz was one of the guest judges who obviously is like, you know, acclaimed chef, like someone that I look up to. And I made this dish. It was like a white asparagus, like chilled soup. And I normally just like hate white asparagus. Yeah. And I did it with some like tuna something, I think. And I won that challenge, and he loved it. So it was great for me to, you know, have someone like him taste my food and be like, and then name me the winner, but also to use an ingredient that I absolutely kind of despise and make something delicious out of it. So that was probably my favorite dish that I cooked on Top Chef. Yeah. And
then Mac was asking, I think they're asking me how hard or how fun was it to make this 1 out of 10. I'm going 10. I really enjoyed it.
Yes, 10.
I thought this is a good one.
I think it's super easy. I think, you know, there's a lot of swap outs in case you can't get certain ingredients. And I think it's just a quick dish.
Yeah. And an easy eat because that's what we're doing here. So thank you so much. I've been tasting it along the way. It's delicious and I can't wait to feed it to my family. Leah, we really appreciate your time and we appreciate your knowledge. We hope everybody will support Pig and Khao and support through, you know, just I'm sure through your website they can find out how to get food from you through your new delivery. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes. Thanks for cooking with me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.